Nearly 250 years ago, our founding fathers debated the future of the government. The Federalists wanted a strong, centralized federal government. Anti-Federalists, such as Thomas Jefferson, believed that government power should be derived from the individual states joining together. And debates between the two schools of thoughts flourished in town halls and village squares. The topic was so contentious that oftentimes swords and bayonets were drawn. But ultimately, the founding fathers found a compromise. Some powers were assigned to the federal government, like regulating trade. Other powers were assigned to the state governments, like education.
That's probably true.
And other powers were shared, like the power to tax. The federal government has the power to wage war. And under Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution, the United States shall protect each state against invasion. But what if the federal government fails to protect the states against invasion? Well, the Constitution says the states can protect themselves from invasion when they're actually invaded.
It's true.
Or face an imminent threat. And the Supreme Court's agreed in several cases, reaffirming the rights of states to use military force in its own defense. You judge with your own eyes if the United States is being invaded. Foreign nationals are breaching our shores by boat and then sprinting through the beaches and just disappearing onto the streets. I mean, these foreigners have no right to break into our country. That's not immigration. What you're seeing on the screen is what every country in the world calls an invasion. They say it's not violent, but drugs, sex, and human smuggling, and all of the crime and devastation associated with that is violent. That's what violence is. So why is Biden treating the border like a turnstile for the third world?
Where are you going? Oh, San Diego. You?
Senegal.
Where are you going?
New York.
Thank you. You?
Senegal.
Where are you going?
New York.
Where are you going?
Senegal.
Where are you from? Where are you going?
New York.
You?
Senegal, New York.
Thank you.
Senegal.
New York. Thank you.
Senegal. New York.
Thank you.
Senegal, New York.
Thank you.
Senegal, New York.
All right, so who do you want as president? A travel agent or a builder? Because look where Biden stopped building the border wall.
I am here in Jacumba, California. This is the United States. Over here on the other side is Mexico. I'm going to show you how easy it is to sneak across the border. All right, right now I'm in the United States and ahora estoy en Mexico. It's that easy to cross the border. And people are just walking through just like this.
Now, the majority of the country believes we're being invaded. 51 counties in Texas agree. The state officially declared an invasion on the southern border. Greg Abbott is invoking Texas's constitutional authority to self-defense.
The authors of the Constitution knew there would be times when the federal government would not live up to its duty. And so they empowered states in Article 1, Section 10, the right of self-defense. The Biden administration has really, truly abdicated its responsibility to secure the border and enforce the laws. Texas has a right as a state to stop criminals from coming into our state, to make arrest of those criminals.
The Texas National Guard is erecting more razor fencing. The Supreme Court had ruled the federal government had the right to cut the fence, but allowed Texas to reserve the right to throw it back up. And the governor is enlisting an army of farmers and ranchers to lay razor wire along the border. And 25 other states are backing Abbott, sending resources to Texas and echoing the state's right to self-defense. But razor wire won't be enough. Texas Rangers aren't just fence builders. They need to repel, arrest, detain, and deport what they've declared an invasion. But Democrats are now urging Joe Biden to federalize the Texas National Guard. Rip the power away from Abbott and make them stand down. And let the invasion, as it's been declared, continue. Federalizing a state's National Guard has only been used in the most extreme circumstances. It was first used during the Whiskey Rebellion in 1792. It was also used during the Civil War during desegregation and during urban riots. But this time's different. The Democrats would be federalizing a state's National Guard to not protect our citizens. What does the White House say about that?
The Border Patrol agents are now, as you said, allowed to cut through the wire because of what the Supreme Court has laid out. It's unfortunate that we had to go there. It's unfortunate that there is a governor in Texas, Governor Abbott, who has politicized this issue of what's happening on the border. And it's not making people's lives safer. It's actually making it harder for law enforcement at the border to do their job.
Binder's saying securing the border makes the Border Patrol's job harder. Well, in a way, she's right, because the job of Biden's Border Patrol is to process illegals, not catch and deport them. And what is it about Latin Americans pouring into Texas that Democrats like? If Russian nationals were pouring across the Bering Strait into Alaska seeking asylum, would Biden let them in? Or if Chinese nationals were landing in Hawaii on little rickety ships, claiming refugee status, would Biden allow it? Of course not. Kamala told us what the goal is with Texas. She admitted she doesn't want to stop the invasion. She wants to speed it up.
What are those solutions? The solutions includes putting resources at the border to do what we can to process people effectively and putting in place laws that actually allow for a meaningful pathway to citizenship.
Process more foreigners and put them on a pathway to citizenship, which means they vote.
In a couple of presidential cycles, you'll be on election night, you'll be announcing that we're calling the 38 electoral votes of Texas for the Democratic nominee for president. It's changing. It's going to become a purple state and then a blue state because of the demographics, because of the population growth of folks from outside of Texas.
And while 6 million illegals are waiting for amnesty and voting rights, the census counts them. And the more illegals you have, the more money and power the politicians get.
Oh, my God.
I need more people in my district, but just for redistricting purposes. And those members could clearly fit here.
Democrats also want the southern border invaded for crop picking and baby making.
We need immigrants in this country. Our vegetables would rot in the ground if they weren't being picked by many immigrants, many illegal immigrants. The fact is that the birth rate in this country is way below replacement level, which means our population is going to start shrinking. And the ratio of people on Social Security and Medicare is going to increase relative to the number of people supporting them.
So it doesn't matter that your son drops dead from fentanyl, your schools are overcrowded, your hospitals go bankrupt, and your wages go down. None of that matters. Nadler's tomatoes are ripe, and Texas turns blue. Every state must stand with Texas. Because if we lose that battle, you're next.